So we just wanted to actually give you an example. You know, Dolf spoke about the $1 million to $2 million homes, but I must admit, as a South African at home, I'm hearing $30,000, $60,000, $90,000, and what we wanted to do was just give you an example. So Dolf has found us here a $90,000 home. You can see it's behind us, and you know, really, I think what's quite important is this is what's called a HUD property. Now, I haven't got a clue what that means, so I'm going to ask Dolf to explain.
HUD is just an acronym for Housing and Urban Development. They're a body. They provide financing to certain sectors of the community. Often when one of these houses goes into foreclosure, meaning that the owner hasn't paid the mortgage, they'll repossess it, they'll take it back, and they'll put it back on the market. I'm pretty sure that's what's happened here. They're seeking electronic bids. They're asking $90,000. You have to submit your offer electronically. The close-off date is tomorrow, so we're not pitching that you might buy this, but it's typical of what happens. And often the faster moving that this whole market is, then the easier it is to get a house at a good value, a good price. Because who else can, you know, bid electronically? That cuts out some sectors of the market. Who else is ready to bid on a Saturday morning? Not everyone can do that.
And I mean, from what I understand, you're in a much better position if you're a cash buyer.
Oh, absolutely. Cash is king in any market. It applies here. Now, this house does need a bit of renovation. We looked through the windows. They've put travertine tiles in the kitchen area, which is really high-end tiles, but the rest of the house still has lino or linoleum. It needs a lot of work on it. Gosh, I don't know. I would guesstimate, just by looking through the windows, it probably needs a good $15,000 spent on it. So just, I mean, just, you know, I know it's how long's a piece of string, but just talk averages. I mean, we're buying the house. Let's just say we buy it at 90. What are our costs going to be roughly on purchase of a $90,000 home? Probably only $1,500 on top of that. So probably $91.50 to own it.
So we're looking at another $15,000 to renovate it, get it up to speed. Now,
right.
that takes us through to sort of $105,000. Call it 110 to be conservative.
Okay.
What type of rent would we be getting here? Again, just roughly in terms of where we're looking in the area.
You know, we just checked that the only other two houses in this area that are on the market for rent, and they're both at $1,200, but one of them's got 500 more square feet, one of them's got 200 more square feet. So we're looking at about 1,540 square feet here, or whatever that is, about 140 square meters. So if we got 1,100 a month, you know, for 12 months, that is whatever it is, 12,000 roughly a year. 12,000 on 120 is 10%. So it's a good return. It covers the cost of ownership. It's not a spectacular return. It's not like 30% or 25% or anything, but it holds its own. And the thing is, I believe the values are going to go up dramatically over the next couple of years, because in the last few years, as we've said, they've come down dramatically. So
just two questions on that. Sorry, Neale, but we obviously did the buy, flip, and the analogy you had. This is obviously more of a buy and a hold. You know, just as an example. Right. You know, right. So it's nice to give people the indication of the two different types of strategies.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, in terms of where you're looking at. And my last question was, you mentioned this market was quite a Hispanic market in terms of the tenant, but you said they generally make good tenants.
Oh, I think they're great. You know, no reflection on any other sector at all, but in general, the Hispanics are hardworking, they've all got jobs, and they are meticulous about paying the rent, so I actually like them as tenants, yeah.
No, I mean, that for us is invaluable.
Absolutely.
You know, we've got no idea on that, and that's the whole reason you've got to come. You've got to speak to the people on the ground, they've got to speak to the experts, you know, because we're never going to know that.
Never know.
We could look through this window, we wouldn't know any different, we wouldn't know who our tenants are or what area we're in, you know.
Would it be possible, you talk about fix and flip, I mean, put a lick of paint, you know, put on new tiling, and make it look really good? Do you think immediately unsellable value of that could be unsold at a reasonable
Yeah, I'm
profit?
not sure. We'd have to do the comps, and that's something that's been evolving by not just by the year, but by the month.
Right.
So it's possible, but I don't think you can fix this one up and sell it for 150. You know, with a 115 cost.
Right.
Those days have gone. You used to be able to buy something like this, and it's kind of a sad thing. Maybe you're thinking that you didn't get in on this earlier, but there's no time like the present. Okay, so you lament having missed out on it in the last 2 years. Don't say that again in 2 years' time when houses like this will go not for 90,000 but for 150. But there used to be a time when you could buy something like this for 40, spend the same 15 on it, and then sell it for 80. That's kind of a good deal. You have 3 or 4 like that going at any one time. You do 10 a year, and it's a good income. Those days, I think, have gone now harder and harder to find, especially if you come here for 1 week at a time. You might say, well, I'll find a good agent who'll give me these deals, but he's got, you know, 60 people hounding him by phone every day, and they're in the same time zone, and you're way over there. Well, think of it now, it's Friday here, it's Saturday in South Africa. It just makes it more difficult to maintain that communication.
But you've touched on something that is so critical, and I mean, we've helped over 2,000 people invest internationally. It's not only about having the partner on the ground here, it's about having the partner on the ground there.
Absolutely.
Because then you can have that free flow, that transparency to make sure that you're dealing with the right people here, but they're also getting the right information.
Right.
Because most of us have a day job back home, and we can't be dealing with agents and management agents and renovations, etc., etc.
Right.
So it's pretty good thing you touched on that as well. You know?
That's very important.
Cool. Well, thanks very much, guys.